King and Queen Radio offers unique opportunities for independent packagers and radio program producers in the metropolitan area. Both King and Queen Radio and Brooklyn Station provide prime airtime on the evening, weekend, and during the day for a wide range of programs dealing with religion, finance, health, business opportunities, including international and multicultural talk and music. The following is an independently produced program. The views and claims dictated by the host and guests of the program are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or its advertisers. For sponsorship, music promotion, and business ads, call management at 347-699-6892.
Now I'm looking for a good man. Oh, but not just any man. Wow! He's got to be someone special. Someone who can light my fire. Tonight. A Mr. Right? That's right. I don't know if that sounds like the mix. Is that part side?
to Evenings with Eleanore, King and Queen Radio. It's Wednesday, 9:30, 9 o'clock p.m. And it's the first day of spring. For our friends in Paraguay, for your listening pleasure, Mr. Wright. I need a little volume on that. Can I get a little volume? Makes me feel a little better. Yeah, cool. That's nice. Mr. Wright. Thank you. That's the poppin' one right there. And how much money to take good care of me? And if you want to love, who can make me feel good? I'll stay with him forever. Like a good woman should. Robert Allen. That's for sure. And if he's around in love, who can make me feel good? Yeah. I'll stay with him forever. Yes. What you doing, girl? I'm looking for Mr. Right. Tell him that I wanna make love to him tonight. George Butcher. Choreography by Dee Waller. Sherry Joy. Love you, girls. I love this track. Susie. If you see it, tell him it's your lucky day. If you see it, tell him I'm counting days. So just remember my ways. Just remember when I say I'm looking. Right. I'm looking for Mr. Right by yours truly. Thank you, Paraguay. If you see him, tell him tonight's tonight. The Basement Boys sampled Mr. Right for the track Tonight. Can't tell you how many times this track has been sampled. Thank you guys for loving it as much as I do. Once again, I'd like to welcome you to Evenings with Eleanore. You're tuned in to King and Queen Radio, BrooklynStation.com. We're coming to you from Midwood, Brooklyn, New York. And guess what? It's hump day. And the first day of spring. It's about 41 degrees, but nevertheless, it's the S word, spring. Been waiting for it all year. Although one of my coworkers just said today, we're due for another snowstorm. There's just one more, always one more. But I beg to differ. This is the day we've been waiting for, the first day of spring. Coats off, layers off. Before I go another further, I'd like to wish a very, very happy birthday to somebody that's very special in my life. Aaron James Jennings is 19 years old today. You remember him, don't you? My grandson? He was a guest on the show not long ago, just before he went to college. He's a freshman in SCAD in Georgia. Today's his birthday, and I'm very proud of you, kid. Love you madly. Happy birthday. This next track is for Mr. Straker. He reached out to me. He is a disabled veteran, and he says, I hear rap, I hear house, I hear R&B, jazz, but I never hear the blues. So for my friends at the Disabled Veterans, this one's just for you. C.C. Hill, Down Home Blues.
And you know I done cut out a lot of that run.
All right.
I've been keeping my cool. But tonight I let my head down, and then I want these down home blues.
All right, I love it. I love it.
Down home blues. Down home blues. All she wanted to hear was some down home blues. All I know. Every other word that I choose. She said, take on those Spanish records and let me hear some down home blues.
Roots music, roots music. All she wanted to hear was every other record too. Bobby Blue Bland, B.B. King, Evan James, Big Mama Thornton, the blues, roots music, C.C. Hill.
Say you know no man gon' wanna fight, because I'll be laying tonight when I don't care. The night I'm gonna do as I choose.
Yeah, okay, girl.
I'm gonna get my head back and party off these down home blues. Got a boy child coming. He's gonna make pretty women.
Who's that? Who's that? Buddy Morton? Right.
And the word was known.
working.
I got the Charlie Kangaroo.
Muddy Waters.
I'm gonna make you better. And the world I know.
Sam Cooke, Little Red Rooster. Listen to that production, guys. Listen to that production. This is one of my favorite
I got a little red rooster.
I do it every day. Every day.
I got a little red rooster. Too lazy to crow for days.
That's right.
He keeps everything in the barnyard, upsetting every way. Dogs begin to bark, the hounds begin to howl. The dogs begin to bark, the hounds begin to howl. Watch out, all you kinfolk. My little red rooster's on the prowl. I tell you that he keeps all the hens fighting among themselves. Keeps all the hens fighting among themselves. He don't want no hen in the barnyard, laying eggs for nobody else.
I had disabled American veterans that's my family. They said, hear every other type of music, but they never hear the blues. So I had to play blues.
It's been real good for me, you know. A lot of things I do.
What kind of music do you like?
I'm gonna say I'm now.
Good music.
Like what?
I like electronic dance music.
Okay.
I like rap. Dance is good. Not too into country. That's really the only thing I don't really go into. But classic rock and roll all the way. Anything that vibes with me is.
All right. We were talking about it earlier. We said we would wait till you guys got in to figure out what kind of music. If we just still talking to figure out what kind of music you like. Are you like a YouTube pop reading and stuff like that? Or?
No.
The lady has a That's who it is.
We don't always sing, but we dance just as good as we want. In Houston, we just learned a new dance called the tighten up. This is the music we tighten up with.
Of course, you know this is not the blues.
First, tighten up on the drum. Come on now, drum. I want you to tighten it up for me.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Oh, yeah. Tighten up on that bass now.
We're going to talk about a couple of things and then we're going to get back to the music.
Yeah. Now let that get
No,
off on
we're
it.
going to talk for 1 second and then we'll go back to the music.
Oh, yeah. Tighten up on the drum now.
Remember the tighten up? I don't remember what the dance was. But I played this tune especially for my good friend Adie Crampton in the UK. He just did an interview with Archie Bell and the Drells, and it was an awesome interview. And let me tell you, one of the things I especially loved about the interview, Archie Bell has such a cute southern drawl. It is the cutest thing ever. He's from Houston, Texas, as he said. And he's got this authentic Houston, southern drawl. And it is the cutest thing ever. I was just so upset when the interview was over. I'm like, more, tell us more stories, you know? But these guys were really, really big hits in the day. Tighten Up was an awesome track. Tighten it up, Holly. Make it mellow. Just in case you're wondering who just walked in, this is one of my guests for the evening. This is Chris Martocci. And Chris is a social influencer. We're going to talk about what that is. You know, we're going to talk about humor and a lot of other topics. But first, let's get through the music because, as I said, one of my favorite charities is Disabled American Vets. And I'm asking you to reach out, make a donation, support our troops, support our vets, homeless vets, wounded warriors. Everybody could use a helping hand. And nobody's going to do it better than you. Let's take care of our own. Reach out.
Like positivity.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's basically local. You know, I can't get Ariana Grande, but I can get somebody who can't get somebody's ear. They can't get in the door. You know, so we are going to the Caribbean, we're in the UK, we're in South and Central America, we're in all the states. We are everywhere from the emails that I get. I mean, places I can't even pronounce. Nigeria. Evenings with Eleanore, I shorten it to EWE.
Okay.
So I get emails and a guy goes, do you want to learn our language? I'm like, what's your language? He goes, Iwi. Right. So I had no idea that it was. But just to, you know, be open to that now. Yeah. So where are you? Would you like to call in and do an interview? Because I can do interviews.
Yeah, are you comfortable now? Yeah.
You know, we've done Skype interviews.
As I was saying before, loneliness can get
WhatsApp.
you
You
down.
know,
Yeah, WhatsApp.
yeah, it depends on where, who, and, you know, what's going on.
Some good people's mind.
So if you would like, or if you know anyone that would like to come over and chat, you know, and like I tell all my guests, if you just want to drop in and say, hey, Eleanore, I want to try out my new Mac. Come on over.
Where you live?
Super welcoming.
That's okay.
So if I had the budget, I would have it set up like your living room or your
I said, I
basement,
want
you know,
you.
because
all about comedy though, you know what I mean? Like I do like comedy and that's something that I'll do, but I'm not like fully, like that's not my main focus, you know what I mean? I really just want to help people. Just kind of like expose things that people don't talk about.
Just everyday part of life.
Right, like things that like people may not notice in life, you know what I mean? Things the way people, they're here and now.
We got an extra chair somewhere.
Good job.
That I never seen. These two little women, they're from New Orleans. I'm sitting down in Aberdeen in New Orleans on my mind. I'm sitting down in Aberdeen with New Orleans
Well, I
on
can
my
imagine
mind. But I believe
that this is Mississippi Delta blues,
lose my mind.
vintage blues, especially for my disabled American vets. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your service. And ladies and gentlemen,
in my home, but the men don't
in case you are watching us, you've watched. Polly, can I get volume down? In case you're watching us, you've noticed that 4 young men have walked in the studio, and these are my guests for this evening. I would like very much for you to know that tonight we're going to be dealing in social influence, comedy, and hopefully we can bring a few yucks to your evening. Enlighten your comedic world and knowledge. And maybe we can get these guys back again. So let's start by asking them to introduce themselves. Let me know a little bit about your name, where you're from.
My name is Renee Fuentes.
We need the microphones.
Thank you. How you doing?
Fine, thank you.
My name is
Just push the button up. Is this thing on? John Herrera.
My name is Renee Fuentes. From Hempstead, Long Island. I'm a comedian. Haven't been doing it for that long. I started back in September, but since then I produce shows, I have a brand. I do a lot of things to keep busy. Try to make this not only a hobby, but try to make some money doing it.
Awesome.
I'm Lamarca, and I'm also doing comedy not that long as well. I started in November, and I've just started getting out there more with it, but me and Chris also make Instagram videos as well, which we've been doing for a while, trying to get a little name out there for ourselves.
Awesome. I noticed that, you guys are friends, you guys are neighborhood buddies, or did you grow up together?
Me and Chris knew each other through high school, but we actually just got closer around like the same time all this started, like September, November, and honestly, same goes for these guys as well. But everyone's awesome, man.
Okay, so we could have a comedy troupe right here. I mean, the things that my friends and I would do in my neighborhood, we sort of read each other, and we had our own little routines of whatever it was. I suppose you guys have your inside jokes. Yeah, I bet you do. Chris, would you introduce yourself?
My name's Chris. I'm from Long Island, New York, West Babylon.
Okay.
And I make Instagram videos, as you just heard, with Dom. And actually, a funny thing, I actually really don't know these guys too well, to be honest. Like, I know good things about them, but I don't really know them personally. So hopefully after this, it'll be cool. But I've definitely seen him perform. He's actually really, really good at stand-up, and I definitely support it. And I make Instagram videos from time to time, and You know, I try to make them funny. Sometimes I do some stories. I try to make it like inspirational and something that's like relatable for other people. And yeah, I do like sales and I do a little bit of real estate here and there, and I'm just trying to grow as a person with it.
That's one of the things I wanted to show the audience, that though you're doing your passion, no matter what it is you're involved in, you have a life. And there are other things that support your craft, support your passion. And as you said, real estate, I also dabble in real estate. So yeah, absolutely.
What kind of real estate?
Commercial real estate.
Commercial real estate.
In the Omni, right across from the Coliseum. So, you know, I'm a Long Island girl too. But Brooklyn's my home. I'm a Brooklyn girl. Yeah. How did I find Long Island?
Which part of Long Island?
I lived in CI and now I'm in Hopewell.
Okay.
Yeah,
Not too far.
No, it's not far at all. It's not far at all unless you're driving home 3 or 4 in the morning. You know. But would you introduce yourself?
Sure.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you for showing up.
My pleasure. Thank you, Google Maps. My name is Manny Cruz. I'm a stand-up comic, just like these gentlemen here. I'm a poet as well. So I'm trying to kind of figure both worlds out before I actually venture with something in the outer space, you know, of the confines of my room or like a stage. I'm just trying to like get the game up so that I'm content and I'm actually willing to share it.
Now, that's what's important to me, sharing it. I mean, the platform that this show provides for new artists is what we're trying to get across here. And Evenings with Eleanore is that platform, because I've been there like every other artist has been there. You can't get that ear. You can't open that door. You can't get to that agent until you've made it, basically. So this is what King and Queen Radio and BrooklynStation.com provides, that platform for new artists to show the world what they can do. And that's why you guys are here. And I thank you so much for sharing your talent with us. Tell me who your influence was. I mean, I know you are, and you guys are, you know, you're young gentlemen, and I'm assuming that your influences would be somebody that doesn't go back to Jonathan Winters, and who I thought was one of the greatest of all time.
Who?
I'm used to that. I got a 14-year-old grandson. And a 19-year-old, so I'm used to that. That's awesome. So who's your influence?
As far as comedic influences, I would have to say people like Patrice O'Neal, Chris Rock, George Carlin.
George Carlin, I mean, that's the top of the top right there.
Yeah, no, he was one of the great, one of the greats. People like that, you know, I find influence from everything though. So like, it's not just like just the comedy thing, but as far as like comedic influences, those are the people. Yeah.
Who would you think, you know, today for me, there's this guy by the name of Hurricane. I don't know if you know
The wrestler?
him. No, he's a comedian.
Okay.
He's a comedian. But I have this affinity for comedians who don't have to say a word. They just look funny. You know, and they don't necessarily have to be in costume. It's just the facial expression, or, you know, that vocal thing that they can bend and shape their voices.
Yeah, no, it's an art.
Yeah, and he's one of those guys. He's one of those guys. But today, who would you say is the top comedian for today?
Today's world, well, there's people like Joe Rogan who are like just like super up there. My personal favorite current comedian is he's a comedian by the name of Andrew Schultz. He's you know, New York native. Even just like local comedians, like not people who aren't like on TV, but just like in the scene. People like you know, Dave Lester, the really funny cats, you know, from out here. You know, in Long Island scene, people like Steve Roccaforella, we were just like doing things like kind of like holding like a pillar in Long Island comedy. Because when you think about comedy, you think about New York City. Like Long Island gets overlooked a lot. So like part of the things we're trying.
Tell me about it.
Part of the things that we're trying to do is like we're trying to make, you know, like a pillar in Long Island comedy. Because like in Long Island comedy, there's Governors. It's the only club that's out there. So so they just like have the monopoly on comedy. So like I part own a music studio venue where I throw comedy shows at, and I'm just trying to raise the culture in Long Island comedy. So
I mean, there's a lot of room out there, and there's a lot of entertainment on Long Island.
yeah,
I mean, a lot of venues that people have no idea exists. There's a huge club community.
Yeah.
Weddings, the catering halls. You could work forever. In fact, I do. I do. But the comedy clubs on Long Island, I'm not familiar with them.
yeah. You only really there's three, but they're all like one entity. But and they do a great job. Nothing against them, but like it could be the scene in Long Island could be a little block, a little vanilla. So I'm just trying to like do something different, do something cool over there. So like I throw these shows called the High Mom Show,
Okay.
and it's a comedy hip hop show. It's kind of like almost like a Def Jam vibe to it. It's like an underground scene type of thing, and we have a really good turnout. We get like 100 people there every
And
show.
where's the venue?
It's in Huntington, Long Island. It's called the Strange Foundation Studio.
Okay, can you give us address or a
Awesome.
website?
Well, you can follow it on Instagram, the Strange Foundation Studio. On Instagram, it's in Huntington Station, 200 East 2nd Street, right by the Long Island Railroad over there. The next show we're throwing this Friday. This comedy show this Friday, but the next big show is the next High Mom show is on 420.
Do you advertise it
Yes,
on your site?
on my Instagram. My Instagram is Fuentes Renee _ on Instagram, and Renee Fuentes on Facebook. But yeah, we're
Okay.
pushing it.
Good. I'll make sure that I keep posting it, and
I appreciate
if
that.
you would send emails to me and let me know where you are, I'll keep it in the ear.
100%. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Absolutely, because I love comedy. I love comedy,
So
and I
do you.
think, yeah, I bet. And I
Yeah.
think, that we could use a lot more of it.
100%.
Yeah.
Everyone's life would be better if people smiled more.
Absolutely. That's a good place to start with comedy.
Yeah.
So, Dom, tell me about your influences.
Definitely one of my biggest in the beginning was Donald Glover. Or Childish Gambino.
Okay.
Is his stage name as well, because he makes music and does that, and he just dabbles in everything. He acts, and he's just a multi-talented man, and he kind of has a name for himself now. But I feel like for the longest time he wasn't appreciated for everything that he did either, and just seeing him grow, because I've been following him for a while, was just cool.
Have you seen yourself grow?
Yeah, honestly, and it's just weird because it's not something you can really keep track of. It's just 6 months go by and you're not the same person you were when it all started, and you're not keeping track of it or anything. It just happens.
I have a friend that does makeup for the movies, like Planet of the Apes or whatever, and his mom would say, when he was a kid, that he was always running around with the makeup and doing weird things and scaring the heck out of her. Did you practice on your family, your jokes, your punchlines, your pranks?
Not necessarily with my family, more so my friends. When I first started getting into it, Chris included, we didn't really hang out at the time. He just came because he was extra audience member. I just had 10 people come in my backyard and just practice something with them, just to see what that's like.
That is cool. I mean, Huntington has a lot of good venues.
Yeah, like Blues Brothers. I think it's a place over there. There's a lot of places. Paramount.
Paramount.
Yeah.
I like Paramount. And good food is Paramount. Wherever there's food, that's where I am. That's how I make you.
Yeah.
I'm saying that when I was a kid, there were variety shows. There was an Ed Sullivan, for an instance, or a Mike Douglas, and you would have an artist that covered every genre, whether they were dancers, singers, comedians, writers, musicians, whatever. Is it difficult for a new artist to get on the comedy club stages?
In what sense?
Like amateur night. Like for a singer, you can go and
just
open mic night.
yourself, a self-conflict kind of thing, a hard thing to do, or difficult to get involved with.
Because the venues don't seem to be there unless you are a major artist.
I mean, they things can be to an extent. A lot of places offer where like you can bring people and they'll give you a spot, but like a big part of it is just meeting people, definitely, like who you know, and like talent and like having a sense of like what is going on definitely does help. So like you want to try as hard as you can to be funny when you're out there. You want to try and improve each time. Like you might just be in front of someone you've never met before that's seen you for the first time. It's like, holy shit. It's like, even I have a friend who does music, and I've seen it with him. He's been doing it for 2 years now, and in the beginning I was kind of like alright dude, and like now like he actually has developed it, and he's in another stage. He's like getting the name for himself. People are really liking what he's doing. Like being able to grow and meet people while you're growing, definitely is a big thing.
Maybe you can convince him to come and let us see what he does.
Yeah.
I had to put that plug in there. So tell me, Chris, social influence. Let me know what that is. Tell us a little bit about that.
About what a social influencer is? I guess I would consider myself a social influencer, but at the same time, everybody on social media kind of can be a social influencer in a way. It's like, it's just when you get to that scale of when you can label yourself as that, and honestly, I don't think that I'm at that point right now where I can even label myself as that, because I feel like I haven't influenced enough people. It's like anyone could just kind of make an Instagram and be like, oh, I'm a social media influencer because I put it as my business profile thing, you know what I mean? And like, do I influence people? Yes, and the reason why I know that is because there's a lot of times where I should say certain things on my stories and stuff, and people will give me feedback and they'll connect with me personally, and then that's kind of like influencing or connecting and relating to people like that. So, yeah, would I consider myself an influencer? Not necessarily, but do I influence people? Yes.
What do you hope to ultimately influence them to do?
Just spread positivity with everybody, and really go like kind of deep inside themselves and figure out like who they are and what they really want as people, so that they can live a happy life. Ultimately.
It sounds like comedy therapist.
Yeah, I mean, I can be funny. I can be funny at times. My main focus really isn't comedy. I can be funny, you know what I mean? Like sometimes I think about it, but that's definitely not like exactly like my full path. You know, that's just kind of like a focus thing. I like making funny videos because it's easy to connect with people. You can make somebody laugh. They look at you and they're like, "Oh wow, like thank you for that." You know what I mean? Like kind of like subconsciously in a sense. And I just kind of go about just really try to preach my message and just connect with as many people as I can. I've met so many people through doing it that it's actually crazy. Like from all over countries and stuff. Like a lot of people from India and stuff like that. It's like crazy to see, and like a lot of people have questions, and I'm always there, and I always say like I keep my DMs open. If you ever have anything you want to ask me, go right ahead, and I'll talk about whatever you want.
Well, I've seen a couple of those videos, and you would also have to be a director, because there are 20, 25 people in the videos, and they all seem to have roles to play, right? Did you direct that?
Wait, what are you talking about specifically, or just videos in general?
I saw a couple of your videos where there was a party going on. You were sitting at a table. And
Oh
all
my
of a sudden
God, yeah.
people popped up.
Yeah. To be honest, that was more Dom's idea. He kind of had the vision for it. And he was like, "Hey man, you want to come over and help me out?" And like, even with every video that we make, you know, somebody comes up with the original idea. Normally, the person who comes up with the original idea will have the post on their page. But when we start going through like the motions of creating the video, like. If I'm doing something and he's like, you know what, I don't really like that. Hey man, he'll throw his input in there, and I'll be like, hey, you know what, Dom, that's actually a really good idea, bro. Let's go with that. And like and I'm sure like we both do that with each other, like with when it comes to videos. So
it just develops.
Do we direct? Like sometimes like you know maybe I'll do more, or like he'll do more or whatever. But like we both kind of
make each other better while it's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we totally push each other to be like better, and like we're very like I'm very critical of myself, and like. I think that he kind of is too in a way, not as much as me maybe, but we definitely throw each other feedback on ways so that we can improve each other so we can keep growing.
So let the audience know where they can see your videos and your Instagram.
You can go to my Instagram. It's Chris_Martocci, MARTOCCI, and yeah, you can follow me, and I would appreciate that. Yeah.
You got to say it often. You know,
yeah,
you got to plug it often. You are extremely funny. You strike me as deadpan comedy. You know, you do this with a straight face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
So what's your history? Who's your influence?
It probably goes back to the 3rd grade. My biggest influence has to be Dave Chappelle. I remember I was hiding the fact that I was watching his television series when it was on, and I remember the first episode was very controversial, but for some odd reason there was some sort of connectivity with me in that moment that said, cartoons are lame, this guy has a point, and he's laughing about things that aren't funny, and
he looks funny.
And he looks very funny, yeah. And I would say Gabriel Iglesias was another guy, because they were really good at masking the truth with obscenities, with certain characters, and they really told the truth, whether people liked it or not.
I was just going to say that, why do you feel that you can get away with such raw truth in comedy when the truth doesn't stand alone as well, if it's not comedically, delivered?
Well, I think that I started to have that conundrum in my head for a little while, for 2 months, and part of my shtick was wearing a 3-piece suit. And originally the idea was people connect with things that they see immediately without accessing that material to say, is this right or wrong? And I felt like if I were to physically be in that presence where I look like I'm worth X amount, the result will end up being either great or bad. But as far as I'm concerned, like, the truth is hidden so well, and people react and follow up with me afterwards. So I know that at least I'm connecting there.
Okay.
I feel like I went off on like a very...
No. I'm thinking, relating this to Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle is very controversial. He's raw and extremely truthful, and the skits are very creative. Do you do skits? Do you write your skits? Is this improv, or do you follow a script?
I do write my own material. Do I want to follow in his footsteps? Absolutely not. I think it's in some aspect like in a poet, he can express himself, and it's almost like he pushes the envelope for you to have individuality. I think he made the totem pole so high for him not to be replicated.
I still have a love for a Jonathan Winters, a Johnny Carson. Their delivery was, they sort of almost told the joke, and you sort of took yourself there. I don't know what method you call that. But the delivery, Robert Klein, those guys, and they're probably way before your time, but these guys were the masters of comedy, and I'm assuming that when you do your research on the people that came before you, that you pick and choose and you listen to their jokes or their routines. Do you find yourself using any of that material or bending it like Beckham and making it your own? You can't?
I mean, you can't, because there's just like you just have there's like just a principle to it. You got like there's a lot of premises out there that are similar, and it's impossible not to have similar premises. Like, you can both have a joke about abortions.
Yeah.
But like, as long as
do you actually have a joke about abortion?
Well, no. No, but as long as you take.
I'm open. I'm ready to hear some jokes, but I thought we'd get there sooner or later.
As long as you you go at it as an original angle, original take, then like that's fine. But like, there's a million premises out there that are the same, but you can't like bite someone else's like joke off. You can't like steal like. It's not genuine.
You said there's a principle. I know that. I know that writers write jokes for people, and a lot of the comedians have been writers for other comedians, like the Smothers Brothers or Leno, or the Today Show. But you have to step on somebody's toes, because you're talking about the same current events. the same slip-ups, the same bloopers. So how do you walk that fine line without
Just
somebody...
being original, like, you know what I mean? Like you said, like in this day and age, the world's crazy. You can like Trump alone. You can every comic has a bajillion jokes about Trump, but just going at it at an original angle. Like when I said about the principle, like I could tell Dom's joke in front of a room of like 30 strangers that don't know anything about comedy, but just came to see a comedy show and they'll think it's funny. I'll get away with it. But like amongst the comedians, they're just like, hey, that's not your joke.
Okay.
So then there's just like, you lose respect there, and then once you lose respect, you don't really have anything.
Well, how does he know what's not your joke?
I mean, word gets around.
Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting.
You don't want to build a reputation for someone who like takes jokes, like who steals people's jokes. Like when you're talking about like writers, it was like a huge thing where like in like I'm sure it still goes on, but a lot of comedy writers that will go to comedy clubs and take people's jokes and like work them, and it is a problem. Like it happens. Like
are they copywritten, these jokes?
I don't think they're just copywriting for jokes.
You're just trusting each other not to take the joke and make it your own.
I mean, there's nothing.
That is really
there's like
principle.
There's like what's the word I'm looking for? I mean like I said, it's not illegal to steal jokes, but then you're just not being genuine with yourself. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm at the point where someone can steal my jokes, and I'm just like, all right, man, like have it. I don't need that joke. Because
I'm bad. I got a million.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
But not to jump back, but you asked Manny a question about like why do you think comedians get away with being able to say like obscene things, and I just think most of the reason is like I think comedy or like stand up alone is like one of the last pillar of free speech we have. Like when something like kind of like fucked up happens in the world, you can always go on Twitter and go to one of your favorite comedians and expect like a funny angle at that. And like people get in trouble, but like that's just I don't know. Like I don't bite my tongue, and there's a lot of comics that don't bite their tongue when it comes to things.
Second Amendment alive.
Yeah, like I think like PC culture is like really cancerous. Like I think it's just like everyone getting in trouble for saying like something everyone thinks. Like, you know, don't say obscene, like messed up things for the sake of saying it, but like, you know, like you get like
have a point.
Yeah, like have like a certain like topic is like shouldn't be like unavailable, like shouldn't be like unspeakable because like it makes people uncomfortable. Like that's what comedian's job is, to take something that's not funny to make it funny.
To make you see yourself in another light, in a truthful light, in a funny light, and what?
I mean, like just like taking like I don't know. I've always been someone who takes tragedy and makes jokes about jokes about them.
Okay, give me for an instance.
Like my mom and dad when I was younger, and like I make the worst like dead mom jokes.
like what?
Oh man, like someone could complain about their mom giving them like a hard time. Like, yeah, my mom was complaining, bitching at me, and I was like, well, my mom's dead. I'm glad about that.
That stops you in your tracks.
Yeah, like she doesn't nag me in years. Like she,
okay.
Yeah, but like that's just how I.
It's dark comedy.
Exactly. But,
okay.
Like, you know, it shouldn't be. Yeah, it makes it funny. You know what I mean? Like why should something like my tragedy? Why shouldn't I be able to talk about that and make light of it?
That makes sense. That makes sense to me. I understand the direction that you're coming from now. I thought when you said you'd make an abortion joke that, you know, that's a really ugly subject for some folks.
We'll talk about that later. We'll get to the abortion jokes later.
Have you ever fallen on your face?
Falling on my face. That's just so strange that you picked me to ask that, because I've had issues like my whole life being clumsy. But since I got the job at Dang as a waiter, it definitely helped me my coordination a little bit. Now I just gotta start looking where I'm walking.
Tom, I love how you said there's a lot of times where I've fallen on my face. I wish we like zoomed in on her face. She was like, damn, how many times?
Holly is our station manager. She is a show in herself. I mean, with the right music, we've got all the dance steps, we've got the impersonations, we've got it all. She could be a one-man band. But I want to thank her and the station for all the help. I'm telling you, she is a monster in that room. It's awesome. She does a great job. Before we get going, I would like very much to let my audience in on something special that's going to be happening pretty soon. We have a Jamaican music festival. And I don't know if they have a comedian on the show or not, but, you know, talk to Holly before you leave.
Is there any food at this festival?
Are you kidding? It's Jamaican. They gotta have food.
All right, I'm there.
Jamaican Music Festival, Baisley Boulevard in Queens, Sunday, May 26th, 2019. And everybody, absolutely everybody, Coco T, Tony Rebel, Micah Diamond, Horace Andy, everybody is going to be there. Everybody, including you. So we're waiting for you. Tickets are ready. Food is ready. Good times, good music. You know that you've been listening to King and Queen Radio, where all the good vibes and good music comes from, right? We started out on Brooklyn Station. We're on King and Queen Radio. We're here every day of the week, EWE, Wednesday nights at 9 to 11 p.m. And tonight, we've got lots and lots of yucks in the room. We have 4 gentlemen here that are social influencers in every sense of the word, through comedy, through their passion for what they do. They're friends sharing their talent with us, and we invite you to touch base with us at eveningswitheleanore@gmail.com. Send us your links. Let us know what you do, and we'll save a spot for you on the show. But getting back to you guys. Hey! I wanted to remind my audience that Sister Dubong on King and Queen Radio, you're in for a treat. This is something that I think everybody should listen to and watch. Zena Pollen. Getting back to my comedians right now, I'd like to know, guys, where do you see, you mentioned the Second Amendment, where do you see the line being drawn? What's taboo today as far as comedy is concerned?
Oh, man.
Your turn.
Put me in the hot seat. Well, we're definitely living in a time where everything is more accessible in terms of information. You don't have to look any further than your left or right pocket. And we just had gone through, in New Zealand, probably a devastating time. And it's continual. It's not just domestic, it's international, whether we like it or not. But I think as a comedian, it kind of, in some way, it's almost like being a parent and saying, like, this is the monster in the room. It's really not that bad. But it also creates like a bookmark for people who actually have the propensity to make changes and say, okay, if that's a problem, and this comedian or this poet, this singer, this whatever is causing me to have some sort of idea that I need to do something that I can change. So small ideas leading to bigger actions, I believe.
Small steps.
Small little steps. Yeah.
Also, with that whole question too, like, there was this episode of South Park, and there was just a whole issue, and Kyle's always become like the voice of reason, and he was getting pissed at me, and he's like, it's either, I think it was Kyle, I hope I'm not making stuff up right now, but he's just like, it's either everything's okay or nothing's okay. You can't start deciding, because when you start deciding that, opinion gets involved, and everyone has a different opinion. That's like the whole point of it. You're entitled to your own opinion, and like just because you don't like something doesn't mean you should say it's off limits. I don't think anything should be off limits. And honestly, I don't know how you guys feel personally. I definitely like want to push myself out there saying more crazy stuff, because I feel like I do hold myself back based off that fact. But like there really shouldn't be anything that's off limits.
You know, I think we all hold ourselves back. It's like sometimes you're at the traffic light and the cars are just waiting for the first one to pull off. You know, certain things are taboo. And today seems to be everybody's touchy-feely. you know, politically correct. You know, look what's happening at some of the historic events where comedians will show up and, you know, the journalist dinner or whatever. People aren't as thick-skinned as they used to be. You know, they sort of draw the line themselves and they tell you what you can do or what you can't. And when it gets to that point, and I see a lot of things on social media and in the media where they seem to want to say, I'm going to get you for that. I'm not going to listen to your material. I'm not going to hire you. I'm going to destroy you on social media. How do you get around that? By telling that joke.
Me first. I mean, I think someone actually told me good advice. It's just like stop trying to get the people to accept you that aren't listening to you. Like, don't cater to the people. Don't try to change anyone's mind. Like, there's people that are gonna like you or do, and like cater to those people. Don't try to like change anyone's mind. But I think as a comic or just anyone that puts themselves out there, there's always going to be people that don't like what you're saying or don't like what you're doing. But you can't let that stop you. You can't like just ignore them. Like, you know, I think that's. I don't know. I haven't had that many. I don't have that much clout yet, so like I haven't had many people trying to like bring me down yet. But
you know,
I'm sure it'll happen.
I think you might not have that clout. I don't know what you call clout, but I think the clout is the fact that you've got the nerve to step out there and say whatever it is you want to say and push that envelope. I think that's what the clout is basically, because when you get a lot older and you get in the system, then you have a lot of rules and you have a lot of regulations and protocols, you know. Yeah. So right now you've got the ultimate freedom. You know, you push that envelope to somebody goes, pop. You know, but I think you're in a good spot right now. What happens if they don't laugh?
You know what?
Interesting. Do you know about this?
I've never stood up on stage and had people not laugh, because I've never stood up on stage and done any stand-up comedy. But what I would assume that would happen when people doesn't laugh was. I mean, I guess what you have to do is you kind of have to just keep moving forward and kind of forget that moment because it's in the past now, and just keep building up on what you have next. Because if you let that one moment where nobody laughs at what you say bring you down, then people are going to sense that energy, and you're not going to be able to deliver well enough. Yeah. Let's hear it from Don.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, it was I just personally feel like all three of us would have a different answer to that question.
Okay, I was hoping.
Yeah, like what he's saying, like I definitely would try and just push myself through it. But like there's times where it's hard. There's times where like when people aren't reacting, it's just like, do you want to? But being consistent is definitely the key. Definitely. How do you feel about it?
When people don't laugh, I think the comedic term for that is bombing. When you bomb, it's part of it. You need that. You need it. Like you need that suck. You need to embrace it, because like
you need that suck. I like that.
You need that suck, because like it keeps you humble. Like I haven't been doing it for that long, and I haven't bombed that many times. I know I'm funny. I know I'm good at what I do, and like I can do. I remember one week I had like 2 or 3 shows. And I killed all 3 of them. You know, it was a good time. People were just like, "Hey, you're awesome." Yeah. It was like I felt like a rock star. And I went to like a mic the next night in like a city, and I just ate a dick. Like I just when I was there, like I would just like I told the first joke that like usually like kills, like, you know, opens it up, sets the tone, and then like just no one's listening. It also depends on where you bomb too, because if you go to like that place I bombed at, like it was like an open mic in the city in a bar filled with other comedians. So like, when you tell your jokes in front of other comedians, like other comedians are the most selfish people ever. Like they don't care. Like they just don't care. So like they just like when you're at an open mic full of comedians, you get like a like that's something. That's awesome, because they don't normally like pay attention. But like, you know, if you're at a show, you know, performing and you bombed, and that kind of sucks. But like you just gotta take everything in stride. You know what I mean? Like. You can't let one like hiccup or one bad day, one bad night like deter you from like, you know, doing what you're chasing the dream.
Do you do a different show for your peers that you would do for a regular audience?
What do you mean, like do I change my setup?
Do you sort of try harder? Do you improv more?
I guess no. I guess I hear you saying.
It's like a singer, you know. If you know that your peeps are in the house, you're gonna hit a higher note. You know, you're gonna go for the rafters.
I feel like it's the complete opposite. Like I feel like 'cause I don't really care what my friends like. Like it's just like feel like the in a room filled with like 100 people that don't know me that never heard me before. Like I'm more trying to get them to like me because like they have no incentive to. Like I host like a mic every Wednesday in Long Island. It's like I host an open mic, and I host that mic. So like every week, I try not to say the same things because like as a comedian, like when you first started out, you only have like 10 minutes or something like that. So like I try not to say, and it forces me like to improv more, like try to like mess with the crowd, try to think on my feet more. But yeah, no, I guess I would try harder in front of a room of people I don't know than in front of like my friends and family.
Cool. Do you tell a joke the same way every time, or do you find yourself embellishing this joke?
I find myself always kind of being overly critical of how I say it. I record myself every time I get on. Not visually, but auditorily.
Okay.
So I'll play back what I'll say, the next day or the next morning, and I'll say like, oh wow, okay, this didn't work here, but I can compare it and say, okay, I said this a little differently and it had a different punchline. This will stay. But then you keep trialing and erroring things. But I have all those bombs and I have all those successes recorded as well. So now I know where not to really step.
So that's like a football player watching the tapes. So you can see what you did wrong and
precisely.
Yeah. Okay.
And it gives me a sort of a game plan for future events, and because I also label the venues, it also tells me like what's not going to work in the future. Like if I'm going to be deadpan, or I'm going to be a little bit more assertive in the characterization sense, where I'm actually emulating somebody.
So you do characters?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
How do you handle hecklers? I mean, when somebody is, and you can sort of see it coming, right? Is there like a mindset, or do you have...
I just give them a thing called a pacifier, and I have them just kind of think of everything on themselves at the moment.
Okay, so somebody's, hey buddy, what's up? What's the pacifier?
The pacifier, I just dig into my my pocket, and I'll just throw them a pacifier. And this one time, I got heckled at a show, and I hit a guy in the groin, and it didn't really work out for me. And
God,
yeah.
I thought you meant you would throw him a line to pacify him. I didn't think you meant
sometimes you have to improvise. You do have to improvise. Oh yeah, that's a part of the thing that I do. So I feel like those things that you don't say save you so much time, so much effort, and you're basing a joke on someone's reaction, and you didn't even open up your mouth once. So you just move on,
getting back to talking to you guys, I will work in the Poconos, right? And I don't want to call names, but some of the clubs, some of the resorts in the Poconos are, love nests. You have the champagne glass tubs and, the fireplaces and do. So you go up and they will put you up for the weekend and you do a couple of shows, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and they have comedians. And most of these comedians are like Don Rickles, probably the same age. But they have been doing these shows forever. And they have honed their skills too. I mean, some of them don't even have to say a word. They can light a cigar, or the way they handle that drink glass. And you're standing in the wings watching this, and you're like waiting for him to tell this joke. And people are dying laughing, and he hasn't said a word. And you think when you're sitting back there and you're like, here comes a guy headed to the stage. He might look like he's 82, right? He's got a tux on and he's shuffling to the stage. And when he hits that mic, he's 22. His routine is masterful. So I think you guys ought to
check out some of those casinos, you know, upstate. I have a good friend at Mount Airy, and I know they have comedians on the show. Clarence Oliver, he's, you know, handles the shows up there. So, you know, I'll sort of introduce you or make a recommendation, but I think you guys would be great in that kind of setting. The Catskills, you know, you could set a new precedence because they basically hire mature comedians. You know, and I think you would be great in there. It would be sort of like Dirty Dancing. That's like the setup, you know.
Yeah, speaking of Dirty Dancing, you know what's really interesting?
What?
Patrick Swayze died on my birthday, and my mom is like infatuated with Patrick Swayze. She's like, we're not celebrating it this year, honey. I have grievances. I'm like, I'm your only son, you know. And
but it's Patrick Swayze.
it's Patrick Swayze, yeah. That guy's pretty dreamy, I guess.
Oh, he's a great actor.
Yeah,
you know,
was.
Great dancer. I mean, he always will be, you know. He's on the screen. They never die. You know, entertainers never die. You guys will be here forever. Whatever is on Instagram, you're here in perpetuity for the world to see. Your lives are being, you know.
I'm a little freaked out. Like, here I am saying, like, Patrick Swayze's, like, this great actor, attractive guy, whatever. And, just think, when I have, like, a child, and then my child has a child, and then that child has a child, like, when they refer back to my timeline, they're going to be like, your great-great-grandma's ass cheeks. I feel like it's going to be a little awkward time.
It will be awkward, you know, because...
In terms of accolades, what their standards were and are.
You're the millennial standards. You guys probably have more freedom to do anything that you want to do, more so than any generation ever.
They don't consider us millennials. We're in like this. Me and Chris are in like this really weird gap right between millennials and like kids that are just gonna ruin the planet. So like,
well, everybody to me is a millennial. That's the way I feel.
Makes sense.
You
Everyone
know,
with an iPhone in their hand, right?
On any given night, you know, you guys are in my living room with my grandsons. You know, they're making music, they're writing, they're painting, they're in a photography club. You know, they're doing their thing. You know, when I sit here and look at you, there are young men in my life, being that I've had four brothers, and there are always guys in the house. You know, there are always comedians. You know, my brother Stanley thought he was Richard Pryor. You know, he was always telling a joke, and he wasn't good at it. You know, but just to repeat a Richard Pryor joke, he was one of those comedians that you could just look at him and crack up. You know, he was in character most of the time. And Jonathan Winters was another one. He would always, Red Skelton, he was my absolute favorite. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but I would just like a singer. And I'm sorry that I don't mean to chastise you, but as a singer, if I'm out there and I want to sing, I want to know who came before me, you know, whether it's Ella Fitzgerald or whether it's opera or rap or whatever. I want to know what was before me. And I would assume that when you guys do your history, do your research, that you have to come across some of these guys like Uncle Milty. Does anybody know who Milton Berle is? I mean, see what I mean? You guys, I could really teach you an awful lot. But, for instance, Laugh-In, you know, Artie Johnson, some of the greatest comedians would come through that show. Every variety show had the greatest comedians ever. Like Phyllis Diller. Does anybody know who she is? Okay?
I feel like one thing is too, like, right now you're naming a lot of comedians, and entertainment's changing in every single aspect right now. Music's changing, television's changing, everything's changing. And like those comedians definitely like had like a great thing, but I feel like we're also a group right here that is gonna push that change. We're gonna create what it is in the future as well. Like everything changes, you know?
You're creating it right now.
Yeah.
You're creating it right now. And the foundation that you're laying is gonna carry you wherever wherever you want your dream to take you, whatever that investment is in yourself. But knowing where you came from, knowing, the history of the word comedy. Who was the first comedian? Not that I know who the first singer is, but I know my Al Jolsons, and I know my Liza Minnellis, and I know the opera and the pop and the rap, and just like all those things, and to get out there, to be able to, like a DJ, knowing to go to a jazz club or a dance club. And Holly, I wanted you to play some dance music because he likes electronic dance music. But just like knowing, your platform to be able to handle the different audiences.
One thing that Don was saying before about like the comedians you name, and I guess how the entertainment industry is changing. I feel like the format of comedy was a lot different back then. Because if you look at someone like Dangerfield, whose thing was kind of just like one-liners, and like in this day, this day and age, you can't really do that. Like not that you can't, because there's comics who do that, but just like the general tone of comedy is like different. Like people are more into like stories. Not that the one-liners don't have their place.
Stories.
Not like one-liners don't necessarily have their place. But like he could do a whole hour of just like one-liners and one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. But I feel like it's like different, like how like hip hop's different. Like now, like the first hip hop song was like hip hop, and like now like you put that on, so you put that on at a party, it's like you're trying to track it off. Like it's just like now that
that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, I get that, and I agree. But it always pays to learn.
100%.
Always pays to learn that. To look back and to see what's
like
up.
if we were like, at our couches in like one of our basements, just like stone watching comedy specials, like I feel like we'd go for a Joe Rogan comedy special opposed to like a comedy special that's in black and white. Like it's just like and like colors weren't allowed to be in the audience. Like
give me an idea of your favorite joke.
My favorite joke? Alright. My favorite joke.
Say something funny.
My favorite joke has to be a Patrice O'Neal joke, because Patrice O'Neal would he wasn't like, people would consider him like a woman hater because he was very misogynistic to an extent. But like he would after ragging on like women or whatever like that for like a portion of the show, he would ask the ladies in the audience. He was like, ladies, if you lost your pussy in a car accident, like how would you keep your man? And he opened the floor for those questions. Like he asked the women in the audience like how would they keep their men if they lost their pussies? And like they were just like, oh, my mouth, or my asshole, and like he was like, you see, you guys are like giving me like the side eye all night for like degrading you guys or whatever like that, and I give you guys to show your worth, and you yourself classified yourself as a series of holes. Like that's probably one of my favorite jokes of all time.
That is interesting. It takes you there, and it has a hell of a punch. I like that. That's awesome. I wouldn't think that stories would be the way to go. I would think one-liners would be the way to go because people are transitioning so fast.
I mean, don't get me wrong, like one-liners definitely still have their place, but you gotta have you gotta resonate with like the audience. You gotta see your soul. You gotta see when you go up there. At least when I go up there, I always try to leave like a piece of my soul up there. I always try to show them who I am. Not kind of just I'm not putting on like a gimmick for 5-6 minutes and being someone else. I'm being like me. So yeah.
Can you gauge the audience to the point where if something isn't working that you can make that transition?
I feel like that's just like a tool every comic kind of picks up along the way, because not every joke's gonna hit. Like I said, you can tell one joke one night and it kills. You can be a completely different audience, like a different room, different people, different vibe, and you might need to tweak the joke a little bit. When I I started challenging myself by doing clean mics because like a lot of my jokes could be a little on the raunchier side. But when you do clean mics, it kind of forces you to like maybe not say like the F word like you know like a couple times because you can't say it. So you kind of forces you to like clean up a little bit and like not and still be funny without being vulgar. So it's a good challenge.
So I take it that you have audiences where you cannot be vulgar, that you do have to make that change.
Sometimes I try to avoid those audiences, but like I did a show at a speakeasy and it was like a frozen yogurt. It was like the upstairs was like a frozen yogurt place, and then downstairs was like an underground bar and shit. Like there's like the frozen yogurt, just like kids running around, and there's like a bookshelf, and you can open the bookshelf and it goes downstairs. So another like a bar and there's a comedy show. It's a really cool venue. I remember I walked in there one time. I'd never been there before, and I walked in just to the address, and I see a bunch of little kids around. I was like, "Fuck, is this where the show is? Like, I gotta change everything." There's like 5-year-olds here. Like,
was that the Huntington one?
No, it was a different show. No.
Okay, cool.
Now the Huntington show, you don't let 5-year-olds in there, so you don't want those problems.
That's cool. I know they have a speakeasy there. I think I was at some theater speakeasy, but Huntington has a lot of good venues. And
yeah, this place was in. It's called Charlotte Speakeasy, and it's in Farmingdale.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sort of going through my head as, you know, the roots when you're telling me where they are, trying to see the place in my head.
Okay.
Farmingdale, I know the movie and the airport, but I can't place the comedy.
It's like Farmingdale. It's like next to Levittown.
Okay.
In like the border, like Nassau, Suffolk, like that border area.
Okay. All right. My next question. What qualities do other comedians have that you admire? And I'd like to ask that all around.
I always like respect people that like been doing it for like X amount of years, because ideally, like I haven't even been doing it for 1 year. So like when I see a comic who's been doing it for like 15 years, and like most importantly, just find a way to make money doing it. You know what I mean? Because that's part of the reasons why I started producing shows. I started like doing more things like that.
So you are making a living at it.
I wouldn't say that I can still have a job.
Okay.
But ideally, I would love to make it like a full-time thing. But like not only just performing shows, but like I guess what the spot I have is the Strange Foundation Studio. Like not only do I throw my own shows there, but I'm trying to get other people to throw shows there. Like aside from like the next show we have, like the High Mom show on 420. But like a week or two after that show, I actually I networked with someone who drove one of like the most popular drag queen shows in Long Island, and we got into cahoots, and she's throwing one of her shows at my venue. So like I'm just trying to make money throwing shows.
I do some of those shows as well. Drag queen shows, as you call them.
Yeah. Is there a more political word I should say?
Yeah, that's sort of politically connected.
Okay.
But a lot of the clubs are gay, like the Fox Club and so forth. And, we do an event once a year. It's like a Halloween party,
Yeah.
Lots of makeup. And I love the makeup. I would do my makeup constantly. But I love the variety of these shows.
Yeah.
I think comedy is going to save the day.
Always does.
I think it's going to save the day because it can take us places and things can be said and accepted through comedy. When the history books are offensive.
I think comedy, like you said, comedy always saves the day. Like comedy can get you. Like if you're funny, I feel like you get out of a lot of situations. Like fellas, your girlfriend ever been mad at you? You made her laugh. You're like, like your girlfriend's scolding you, and then like you just make her smile and say something stupid, and make her laugh, and you're immediately off the hook. So it's like
Dom, what qualities in comedians do you admire? And give me a comedian for an instance. There's something about Jerry Seinfeld that to me is endearing. I sort of can relax and just watch him forever.
I definitely like someone that has like cleverness to them.
Yeah,
like
and
something
he's
that's
definitely
more thought out. One person as of recently that actually I really admire a lot for that is Michael Che.
So.
Yeah, he does the Weekend Update on Saturday Night Live, and he has a fantastic stand-up special. And like, just the way he goes about things is just so clever, so like out of the box. And, like, he can always take it a different direction. That's definitely something cool to be able to do.
How do you feel about Jon Stewart?
Jon Stewart? Oh, actually, I haven't watched a lot of Jon Stewart stuff. I've seen him in like a couple movies, watched The Daily Show before. It's never anything that necessarily appealed to me, honestly.
I sort of like his timing and the fact that he is so into current events, you know?
Yeah.
And there's a truth there that comes across. I don't know, maybe because he looks and he carries himself like a serious news guy, but his delivery isn't, you know? But he draws you in with that seriousness and then he kills you
Just
with
the
that
seriousness too, though. That's like a thing too. You need to have some kind of tone to what you're doing. Like, how serious do you want to be? Like, even like he's saying before, he's sitting there and making jokes about what happened with mother. That's a serious topic.
That is.
That's a serious
That
thing.
is.
And when you do that, that's, I think, a very important thing to have in it, because being serious can be something people could really be like, oh, like that's like, it's a joke, but like that's like some real, like that's real as well, you know?
Do you think there is a subject that is taboo? I mean, I look at current events and I see like the school shootings and such.
That's something I think that I personally have made a joke about that before, because I have, because that's just like such a serious thing. Like, for like people like it's serious, but people act like it's serious, but they don't take it seriously either. They freak out when it happens, but they don't know every school shooting that's happening. There's a bunch of things that's happening.
Absolutely.
It's also something people can just easily brush off their shoulder, like it's serious, but for a day, you know, like,
I'm upset that it has to happen and then you take action.
Yeah.
That's what I'm upset about. But what comedians do you admire? What do you admire in other comedians?
When it comes to comedians, I'm honestly pretty critical. I don't really laugh at a lot of stand-up, but when I do, like, it's an honest laugh. Like, I really, like, be dying. Like, the guy John Mulaney, I don't know if you know John Mulaney.
No, I don't.
I think that guy's awesome. He's great. Dave Chappelle, I think you mentioned before, awesome. I like people who, like, really bring themselves. You know what I mean? Where you can, I think that he was talking about it, where you can, like, kind of relate to that person, and you can kind of see them, and, like, they, like, leave their souls on the stage, and, like, somebody who can really bring themselves. It doesn't mean that much to me that I'm laughing. I just want to be entertained. Like, when I'm watching somebody stand up, they don't have to make me laugh. But if I generally fuck with the person that's up there, that's good enough for me. You know
But I want to walk away with something.
Yeah, but
you know?
like that connection, like maybe you feel like you can connect with them. That's walking away with something definitely.
Yeah, I want to walk away with something. You know, make me think about something.
Right.
Teach me something.
100%,
you know.
right.
And comedy, usually, I'm looking at world events, and then I hear this world event through a comedian's view, and it's a whole nother thing. Mine is out the window because he has this view that is so honest and it's humorous at the same time, and it's breaking my heart. That is really difficult.
Yeah, it's like sometimes you can take something that's so horrible and so serious, but then put that like funny thing about it, and it makes it like, you know, you don't want to like always be so negative and sad, even though the things that are happening are horrible. But if you can make a joke out of that, you know what I mean? Like, that's really cool, and that takes a lot of skill, definitely.
It does take a lot of skill, and it takes a lot of heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, because you're open to the world of criticism, whether it's good or bad. It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Right.
You know, if you don't go there, why didn't you go there? But if you do go there, it's taboo.
Yeah.
You know, it's really.
And like a lot of people will probably hold back because they're like, oh, I don't want to be judged by all these people, you know what I mean? But there's certain people who love that, you know what I mean? Like there's certain people who absolutely love that, and like so many people try to impress like that. There's like, it's like 50% of people are gonna like you, 50% of people probably aren't, you know, on average. And if you're trying to appeal to those people who don't like you, you're kind of wasting your time. Just get the people who already like you to love you. You know what I mean? Because then that's how you build your brand. That's how you build your audience. And like that's very important. I feel like so many people just go so far off from that. They don't even take that into consideration. Like, oh, I want everyone to like me, so they're going out and then they're losing themselves in the process, and they're not having their dedicated audience.
I think, you know, they sort of lose focus on what they're out there to do, and then they sort of pick up
something that happened in the news or something that happened politically, and then they sort of get involved, and we lose the fun and the joy and the focus of that artist.
100%.
You know, that I don't like about it. But you are a functioning human being. You're paying taxes, you're working, you know, you're doing all these things, and you are affected by what's going on, you know, but you have to stay true to your craft. So tell me about the admirable qualities in other comedians that you find interesting.
Their honesty with who they are. I feel like I'm just going to be reiterating a lot of what they've been saying, but I do admire the truth, no matter who the comedian is. And you can sift it out. If you're in there in the trenches, doing some mics here and there every week, you can kind of sift out the bullshit and be like, that does not sound real, that's impractical, that probably would never happen, bro. Sorry.
Regardless of what goes on, you know the truth when you hear it.
Yeah.
You know the truth when you hear it.
So, I mean, I would say that I looked up to Eddie Murphy as well, and just watching him, I feel like there's like a certain art to being an actor, there's a certain art to being a comedian, but to use every muscle in your vehicle and give people the moment to just relax and forget. That's like truly what I admire.
One of the things that I've never understood, I cannot understand for the life of me, how comedians can be so uninhibited. I mean, there is no line that they draw. Like Robin Williams, for instance. I mean, this man, Jim Carrey, I mean, they are out there. It's just like they're just spread eagle on the floor. You know, there's, as you say, bearing their souls. How do you overcome that being inhibited? Because I see a lot of comedians and a lot of artists I know that are sort of timid in this stuff. How do you gain that freedom?
I think that just comes from just being okay with who you are. Like that's just like you gotta be okay with like with him. Like, you gotta be okay with like who you are, and like you don't have to like fake, or you don't have to like those people like Jim Carrey or what was the other person you named?
Robin Williams?
Yeah, like they were unique. They were unique, and there was no one like them. So I think they weren't really focused on being or fitting in. They were more focused on standing out. And when you like stand out, opposed to trying to fit in, you go a long way. You go further.
I don't understand what you mean fit in. Who give me for an instance of fitting in?
Like I don't know. You try to I guess you try to cater to other people. You try to you try to like fall in a certain category because like everyone else is, or that's what everyone else is liking, or that's what you know what I mean. Like like if I was like. If I had like my comedy was like darker, like and then like I'll go to a bunch of open mics and everyone who aren't saying those types of jokes, but just because like I'm different doesn't mean like I'm worse. You know what I'm saying?
I got it. I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, I feel like being different, especially in this day and age. There's a bajillion comedians out there nowadays. Like anyone could be a comedian. You know what I mean? They just gotta put it on their Instagram. But
calling me out right
no,
now.
not at all. But I don't know. You just gotta be like I don't know. I feel like I was never someone who's afraid to like not be weird. Like I don't know, I feel like people need to embrace their weirdness, and I feel like they'll go a long way with that.
I know that you said that you are yourself. And you're still growing.
Yeah.
You're still developing as a comedian. What would be your goal?
As a comedian?
Mm-hmm.
Well, make some money doing this. Like, But that's I feel like that's different, because that's like, what's making me money doing this is being a producer and like drawing shows, but that's different than being a comedian and like honing that craft.
Well, usually, there is a special, an HBO special. There is a TV sitcom,
So comedians don't just stand before that mic
I
and
honestly,
tell that story.
okay, I hear what you're saying.
Stephen Colbert.
I honestly like. I don't want to be like famous like that. Like, I think being famous is annoying.
It's annoying.
It'd be annoying. Like, it's like I don't want to have to like people breathe down my neck, like
Okay.
you know, like dissecting everything I'm doing, everything I'm saying. You know, I want to be a writer for things. I would love to like be be one of those writers for like comedy shows. Like one of like a good friend of mine, DB Frick. Shout out DB Frick. He's been doing comedy for like in the comedy business for like 20 something years. He's written for like Conan. He's written for like National Lampoon. Like he's done like a bunch of things like that. And I feel like that's something more I'd be more interested in, like that writing aspect of it.
Writing for other.
I feel like I want to be more of a behind the scenes kind of guy, because the people who you see in the forefront of the entertainment aren't the people who are pulling the strings. They're just like they're just the people they're just the face of it. I kind of want to be behind the face of it, because that's where the power is.
That's the way I feel about it. It wasn't so much power that, you know, when you're out there singing and, you know, they're just leading you to the microphone. There came a time where I had something I wanted to say, so I wanted to produce and I wanted to write and I wanted to sing and I wanted to do all those things. So yeah, I understand that.
Like part of the reason why I started producing, I started drawing my own shows, is because I looked at what was out there, I looked at the scene and I didn't like it, and I wanted to be something different, I wanted to be something better. So like I started drawing my own shows that are completely different than anything that's being like drawn nowadays, and like at least in Long Island, I can't speak for New York City, but like the grittiness, the undergroundness, like the rawness, like it's not like going to like a High Mom show and then going to like a Governor's Little Room show. It's two completely different things.
I think I have more fun at
You
the
need
High
a
Mom
microphone.
show. I think I had more fun at the High Mom show than I had at like a Governor's show personally, though. Just because like I didn't feel like I was being sold on anything. I just felt like I was there to have a good time.
Because again, nothing against any comedy clubs, because I want to work with them. But when you go to a especially as like a young person, like when I started doing my own shows mostly because like I would invite like. There's this thing in comedy, we mentioned it before, we touched on it, like the bringer shows.
Yeah.
And like that's only like a thing in New York City, and like it's not really a thing elsewhere. But I feel like it's kind of like killing comedy, because it's not really about who's funny, it's about like who can bring X amount of people to the shows. Like you kind of have to like pay to play type of thing.
Yes.
Like if you want to go up, you gotta bring 6 paying customers. So it's kind of whack. So like I try to like set a precedent. I'm trying to be better than that on my shows. Like I'm not gonna hound people to bring like, oh, you didn't bring the 5 people, you can't go on. Like
if you don't have 50,000 likes, we can't hire you.
Yeah, type of stuff. So I started making my own platform so I can put people on, like I drew a show at at a comedy club last week, and it was a great show. Like Kevin James came by, he did a set. Like it was a really, really good show. But one of the as far as I made some money and I did some cool things, but I think the coolest thing about that night was people like Dom was on. Like I put Dom on the show. Okay. He was like, that was my first time at a comedy club, and I was like, wow, I made that happen. Like I made your first. Like I'm just trying to put people on. I'm trying to like give people even though I just started this platform, I'm just trying to like give people I like my that platform.
But you guys gotta send me some information, like all the links, and we gotta let people know where you are, where they can find your work, and see all of these Instagram videos. That was very nice of Kevin James to come down. He's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
He's extremely funny.
Yeah.
And he's got great timing.
Yeah, no, it was kind of crazy because he's working on an hour, so he's been like going to all the clubs. He's from Long Island. I think he's currently living out there, but he's been going to all the clubs. He did the main room show that night, and I had my show going on in the little room, it's called the little room, and we had a good crowd. We practically sold out, and he was just like, I want to do a set on that show, that little show, that show that's going on there too. So it was kind of it was cool, because now I get to say that I produced a show that Kevin James performed on. So I got forever. So it was really
That looks good on that bio, on that resume.
Yeah.
Good for you.
So I'm telling everybody, I pass on the street about it. So.
It's not easy dealing with booking the shows.
No, it's
putting on the show. I know it is, and dealing with
annoying.
Each and every artist,
Yeah, no, it's really,
that's very difficult.
It's very stressful. Like it's It's very stressful. Like, I can't say anymore.
Yeah, but you have to have a love for it to even come in that way.
No, I do. I love it so much. Like, I found like a passion for it because I'm good at it. Like, I know I'm good at it. Like, I produce like a lot of like the shows I've been producing are really successful. They're a lot of fun, and like it drives me crazy. But then like when it's over, like right now, like we're about a month away from the next High Mom show, so I'm in like show mode right now. Like getting the flyer done, about to start pushing it. About to, like I turned to a robot, turned to like a Nazi, and I'm like,
I get that.
For the next month, like I have a one-track mind, and it's just like that show. But then like I'm like pulling my hair out, I was like, fuck this is bad. But then when it's over, I'm like sad. I'm just like, oh, it's gone. It's like everything that like my life doesn't have no like purpose anymore. Because like the show passed, I'm just like, on to the next show.
But then there is a great sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
You know, from a personal standpoint, from a business standpoint, and then you hired all your friends. So yeah.
Aside from that, like I was telling them in the car right over here, like about like during these shows, like growing up, like I wasn't necessarily the popular kid. Like I didn't get invited to like the parties, but now I'm throwing these parties,
you are the
and
party.
I'm charging 10 at the door. So it's just like.
So, you are the party. I like that.
So it's kind of like a shift. That's kind of
That's awesome. You know, and sitting here booking these shows, booking the artists on this set, 2 minutes before I'm to air, somebody will say, "Can I get a rain check? I'm not going to show up. I can't make it." I mean, I'm from the era of like the show must go on.
Yeah.
You know, you crawl to get there. But that's one of the things that, you know, I don't really look forward to. I would just like to show up and grab the mic and read and do what I have to do.
A lot simpler. But especially because of the Strange Foundation, where I throw the High Mom show, it's like my place. Like when you throw a show at a comedy club, you don't have to worry about sweeping. You don't have to worry about the chairs.
Right.
You know,
That's right.
I am there like the night before, the days before, till 3 in the morning, cleaning, setting the chairs up, setting the lights up. The day of, I hire security because like it's like I can't do everything. The last High Mom show, we had more than like 100 people and I hired 2 security guards. One was my cousin. And the other one was actually like a really big dude, big scary dude. So the day of, the big scary dude, he texted me, he was like, "Hey, I can't make it tonight." And I was like, and then it's like, but like, I just worked the door. Like I was the security. I was just like, alright, fuck it, whatever.
That's right, you got a punt, right?
Yeah, so just like I put like my blood, sweat, and tears into these shows, and like I literally do like every aspect of it. So that's why they're so like special. But like, yeah.
It is special. It is special. One of the things that I want to ask is, where do you get your material? I mean, is it something that's generated in your heart, something that you see, something that you heard, or a funny family member?
My father, he's my non-biological father, so when my mom immigrated here from Nicaragua, she was already pregnant, and she was freaked out, at 21 years old, and she took every dollar, or Cordoba, where she's from, is Nicaragua, so when she immigrated to Mexico, she had to come up with a decision like, I'm going to go for it. So when she came here, who gave us hospice was my aunt and her then husband, so who would become my dad. So he inherited that whole spectacle of being my father, and he himself had a sense of humor that was astounding. But he wasn't the type of telling jokes, he was just naturally just this burlesque guy with a thick Puerto Rican mustache and just always had something to say about something. Very objective listener. So I think I got that objectivity from him. So I took about 6 months out of the last year. I didn't work a day. I liquidated, money that I had, and I just traveled and listened. Like once you learn to listen to the world around you objectively, I think that it adds a level of perspective that you wouldn't have if you were engaged in the situation. Like if you're watching a couple of dudes fighting down the road over like a bagel, perhaps, versus if you're actually in that fight, fighting over a bagel, your perspective's going to be completely different. Like if you watch the TV on mute and you just thought to yourself, okay, let me add some sort of dialogue here and see what they would say.
Man, you were walking around with your headphones in, not actually playing music.
Yeah. You'd be surprised. You would be surprised.
When you were traveling, where did you travel?
I went to Chicago.
Okay, good. Great.
Yeah.
That's a lot to listen to in Chicago. Hey, our friends in Chicago. Thank you for tuning in. You're watching and you're listening to Evenings with Eleanore, and we're having a great time this evening. Lots and lots of yucks. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I have to keep reminding people who and where we are.
Yeah, Brooklyn, New York.
Midwood, Brooklyn, New York.
All right. I also went to Philly. That's one of my favorite cities.
You went to all the major markets.
Yeah, all the major markets.
Good.
And I think just also like objectifying art as it is, it also adds like perspective. Like for me as a poet, one of the biggest things that I wanted to look into for a project, I'm actually going to go up for a Latinx scholarship. So if my works pass, then I'll be happy. But the project that I'm working on deals with the surrealer side of the world. Surrealist ideas that are influenced from Salvador Dali, who's a painter.
Yes, I know.
Or André Breton, who's a Frenchman, is actually one of the guys who catalyzed the surrealist movement during World War I and into World War II. And with that, I want to be able to implement my voice in a way that I know how, which is through words.
Well, give me an example of your poetry.
Okay. There's, I mean, I don't want to like do it right now. I don't have it memorized, but there's this poem that I have about an egg. Okay. So often I felt like the yolk inside. It's just this overbearing necessity to just, like this overzealous egg that just wants to crack and be birthed. You know, every day we all want to have a new beginning. We want to have a meaning to live. And if we're just going about life without knowing that meaning, we're just vessels, empty, with no sense of direction. And until then, like if we fall in love, if we have a child, if we have some sort of responsibility until that day comes, like I don't want to live in that world. I want to live in the world where I'm actually making an impact, where I'm actually giving people the incentive to feel like they've learned something brand new, and to grow a little bit. I feel like we can all offer each other something.
That's why we're here.
Nourishing. You know? We all want to nurture each other.
No man's an island, right?
Right.
That's right. That's why we're here. We have to interact. And, I mean, if the only flower were rose, I'd be bored to death. One of the things I wanted to say was, you guys did me a great, great honor by showing up tonight and sharing your
Thank you for having us.
Your craft, your ideas, your future, your. Before you leave, you mentioned Big Chuckles. What is Big Chuckles?
This is
half
Big
of Big
Chuckles.
I'm one half of Big Chuckles. Big Chuckles is the Chuckles production. I'll show you. Wish I had like a picture. But it's pretty much this the brand. It's the brand. Working on LLC on it. You know, I have a banner. When I draw the Imam show, it's Big Chuckles Productions presents the Imam show. So it's pretty much just this. I guess just the car I'm driving and the car I'm driving to change like the scene, to change the culture of Long Island. Like that's just like the brand behind it, like Big Chuckles. So I'm just trying to draw shows, and it's just, you know, we're all Big Chuckles. You know, it's not just me.
Okay. All right, I just wanted to know if that was like the name of the group, or you know, if that's what you were calling yourself, but you're telling me that's your brand.
Yeah, that's my brand, Big Chuckles. Yeah. And
it originated on Long Island.
Originated on Long Island. Essentially, I have a business partner, Eli. He's also a comic, former Marine. He's a really good fucking dude. Like he's like an older brother. But we met in a comedy class, and we just took a liking to each other, and we started just going these nights together. We talked about like drawing a show, because again, we looked at the scene for what it was, and we really didn't like it. Like, you know, with the whole bringer thing, going to like, felt like it was kind of whack. You know, like, you know, you bug our friends to go to a show at like the Little Room, or go to a show at like a comedy club. And it's not that, like, it's, you know, it's cool they come to support you, you might do a good set, but like, they're not really getting, they're kind of doing you a favor for going and you're spending money, and they're
It's
like,
cool they come, it's not cool they have to.
Yeah, so like it's kind of like.
Talk on the mic. I don't want to waste a word. I don't want to waste a word. Go ahead.
It's
There's a third mic. What?
yeah, the whole time.
See, we're growing. Next time we'll have 6
Like
months.
with those bringer shows, it is really cool. Like your friends to come out and like support what you're doing. Like it's awesome, but it's not cool that they have to.
Okay, I get that.
And like with the bringer shows, it's like you go to a comedy club. Again, nothing against the comedy club. I want to work for them all that. But like you go there, you spend like what was it, $20 on the ticket, and that's like whatever. But then like it's like a 2-drink minimum, and then they hit you in the head, automatic gratuity. So like kids like our age, like you know what I mean, like they'll spend like the $15-20 what it is for the ticket, and they go there and spend like $70. You know, because they have to, because like you know what I mean. That's like a lot to ask for your friends that are just like out of college or whatever. So like when I throw these like big Chuckles, High Mom shows, you know, the ticket's $10. We have a liquor license at the venue, so like we visit to the bar, so we don't charge like you know like $7 for a water bottle or like $11 for a Corona. Like,
Do you have to have your own insurance?
Huh?
Do you have to have your own insurance?
Yes,
or?
to do that. Yeah, we have all like the necessary paperwork. We have
Okay.
insurance. We have like just in case the feds are listening, they want to throw us.
You're serious in
Yeah.
this. You are definitely.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah, no, we have all of our. I mean, like the first show we might have not had it, but like we
I get it. I get it. You grow.
Allegedly.
Yeah,
You grow, you know.
hearsay. But yeah, no. So it's pretty much just changing like the idea of comedy. Like when people like in Long Island before, when people think of comedy, they think, oh yeah, go to this boring comedy club, yada yada. It's kind of just making it fun again, making it cool again. And Big Chuckles is pretty much the face of it.
So the next I'm
Hi Mom. Like
Hi,
hi,
Mom?
like hi Mom.
Hi Mom.
But like HIGH. Hi Mom.
Okay.
And my mom stands for Mind Over Matter, so it's Hi Mind Over Matter.
Thank God, bro. I was wondering.
Thank
I
you.
always seen the dots, and I never knew.
It's Hi, like HIGHM.O.M.
And
But
when is the next event?
it's April 20th. But
April 20th.
I do have to say the Hi Mom thing is not my brand. It's when I do these Hi Mom shows, I do me and Eli are Big Chuckles, but Hi Mom is my friend Fritz, who's a rapper, and he does the musical aspect. This is a comedy hip hop show.
Okay.
So I take care, me and Eli take care of the comedy part, but my boy Fritz, his brother Nate on Instagram, very talented rapper, musician, artist, very talented dude. But that's his brand. So he pretty much like formed like Voltron, and he's made these dope shows.
So before we leave, we have a little time left. I would like if each one of you guys would let the audience know and the listeners know where they can find you online, let them know your sites and your email addresses if they want to get in contact you for any bookings. And we need more comedy out there, so email these guys and let's get them on the road.
Well, so you can find me on Facebook. My name is Rene Fuentes, ReneFuentes. You can find me on Instagram, which is Fuentes Rene _ and
you can also find you at Big Chuckles.
Big Chuckles, yeah.
Is that bigchuckles.com or?
Well, the website is bigchuckles.com, but
Okay.
it's the website's in the works, and yeah.
Okay, good, yay.
Yeah.
Because I think you're funny, you're hilarious, all you guys.
Thank you.
I'm telling you, this has been a first for Evenings with Eleanore, because this is our first appearance where we have comedians. I mean, we've had concert violinists, we've had every genre of music you can imagine, dancers, but not a comedian. And to have 4 at once, hey, I'm batting 1,000. I'm loving it. I'm sorry if I said comedian instead of.
Oh no, it's all good. No offense. I mean, I guess
that's still a possibility. I tell him he would love doing a mic. I do tell him that all the time.
I mean, just the way you speak, you have that voice of authority. When you're out there. I mean, if I didn't know you were into comedy, I'd think you were a lawyer.
Oh, thank you so much for saying that. It means a lot. That's great. I mean, I do. It's not like I don't do funny videos on Instagram, of course. So like, I guess I could be a comedian like that. You know what I mean? Like, why not? But I definitely want to hop up and do a mic. This kid's definitely inspired me. Dom just fucking kills it on the mic.
Yeah.
This man too. I've never seen him, so I can't say anything. But I'm sure he's great.
I'm really anxious to tell the audience where we can find your work and
Oh yeah.
we'll move along.
I have a Facebook page. I don't really use it. I actually have been meaning to set it up to use as another platform as well soon. But Instagram is definitely the big thing for me at L.A_D_D_, or you can just look up Down the Market for that. And I make skits. I do giveaways and stuff. Right now I'm doing a giveaway for a Red Jewel device. I plan on giving away like concert tickets or maybe basketball game tickets, stuff like that in the future. There's definitely
Hockey tickets?
Hockey tickets as well. Also, I do like this scavenger hunt thing that I did last year, and I will be bringing it back around spring. So that's
cool.
Definitely
I love scavenger hunts. Call me.
Yeah, so my name's Chris Martosi. You guys can follow. I'm actually going to bring back my YouTube channel, which is actually really exciting. And that's that's just Chris Martosi. And I'll be posting like updates on that through my Instagram. That's really my main platform right now. So if you are interested in me, go ahead and check me out at Chris_Martosi, MARTOCCI. Yeah, I do skits. I do some comedy. I do inspiration. I really just talk about life really, and just experiences that I'm going through. And I'll just have like a post of just my daily activities. You know what I mean? I just really promote myself really. And if you fuck with me, then great. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's awesome. DM me. My DMs are always open. Talk to me about anything. I love meeting new people and connecting with everyone. So it's great.
Are all you guys single?
Yes.
Heard that. Heard that, ladies.
I hope all of them didn't hear that, but
I mean, I'm going to get emails, so I figured I'd get all the questions out there. Can you tell us quickly where we can reach you?
I am only on Instagram at the moment. I am found on MANKNEECRUISE. It's a play on words.
Yay!
Manny Cruz.
Awesome.
Just my first and last name.
And we thank you for checking in. And the tune that we're playing right now is my latest release. So please, I appreciate your support. Very much appreciated, very much needed. And we'll see you next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Evenings with Eleanore, King and Queen Radio, and BrooklynStation.com. Be here.
You're a great host. I love it.